So if SSL only protects the connection, but it doesn't protect against other kinds of malicious attacks, what are some things that you could do to protect against them? The first and probably most common, and this is to me in the category of let's get it out of the way because there is no longer any excuse for this. When I hear about some website that has been compromised because of a successful SQL injection attack, I just sort of shake my head because we're so far beyond this, everyone. So how does SQL injection work? Here, we'll illustrate with a simple example. Suppose somewhere in one of our views, we've got a text field where the user is supposed to fill in something. Like, let's say it's a place where they're supposed to fill in their name. And here's the bad part. This is the thing that you should never do. Somewhere in the app, there's a where statement that directly interpolates the result of whatever that text field was. Okay? This is in red because this is what you should never do. How does a SQL injection attack work? Let's say that the evil user fills in the following string as the value of their name. I'm not saying that this couldn't be somebody's real name, but if this is what they fill in, and if you now just sort of expand out what that string looks like, this is what you're going to get, right? You're going to get an SQL statement that includes drop table. And by the way, drop table means delete table irretrievably. So not good. This is pretty destructive. And the double dash here is the SQL comment. So that if your where statement had other stuff at the end of it, that stuff will now be ignored because they'll be treated as part of an SQL comment, right? This is terrible. If you ever write an app that allows SQL injection, I would probably support you being fired. We are so far beyond this because the easy way to do this, there's a reason that frameworks that provide an object relational mapping layer like Active Record have facilities like this, where Active Record will sanitize and safely include parameters into a query. Even better, you can use this syntax where you use a combination of keyword arguments and values, and Rails assembles the query for you. I mean, at least in this case, if SQL injection happens, you can blame the framework. Not that that's going to make your day any better. But this is a kind of attack that in older frameworks where the connection to the database was much more exposed, and you basically were constructing your SQL queries by yourself, this was a much more difficult attack to avoid because you had to essentially do all of the sanitization. You had to worry about whether the final query could be constructed in a malicious way. With frameworks that essentially wrap the query generation for you, there's sort of no excuse for this attack anymore. This is kind of a funny sequence of pictures I found a few years ago on the web. It's maybe a SQL injection attack against these cameras that they now put on traffic light poles. And the idea is that the cameras are supposed to be detecting if somebody runs a red light. And if they are, it's supposed to take a picture of their license plate. And so the idea is that, basically it's showing you that, hey, you ran the red light, but we captured what your license plate is. And somebody had a picture of a car. And I don't know if you can read the bumper sticker here, but it's exactly the kind of SQL injection attack that I just showed. I don't know if this ever worked, but I think it's really funny. So that's SQL injection. Use the Rails facilities in the right way, and you probably will be safe from all but the most obfuscated SQL injection attacks.